So without apology, today is our Commitment Sunday, and it is in part my job to raise funds in the church. We often refer to this as the Sermon on the Amount. So I've done some research about what fundraising should be from a scientific point of view, and the scientists who study fundraising know four things. One is that you should always tell people exactly what they get from the thing that they're donating to. The second is that you should always invite them into a lottery with their contribution. The third is that if at all possible, a young, attractive, blonde woman should make the ask. I don't like it, you don't like it, but that's how it is. And the fourth thing that I just forgot was, the fourth thing, see how good I am at this. The fourth thing is that you tell the people that others are doing this. So if you listen to KERA, they're doing all these things except for the blonde woman, of course. So I can't and I won't do some of those things. I do want to thank the 89 families that have already given to the pledge drive. That was a joke. You missed it. But what we have instead of fundraising strategies is commitment. So when thinking about commitment, I want to tell you two stories. One is something I witnessed in a cafe, the kind of cafe that has a mermaid hanging out in front of the shop. It was the day that I was sitting there and a woman came in with her husband, and they were in line, and right in front of them was a man who looked like he lived on the street. Everyone else in the cafe moved away from this man as he palmed his coins and went up and asked for a cup of coffee. He had enough for that. And he got his coffee and he went to sit down. The woman spent a moment looking at this man. She noticed his bright blue eyes, that he was sharp and he was present, but he was poor and he had nothing. And so when she went up to the line, she bought 2 breakfasts. Her husband had a coffee. And she took one of the breakfasts and she walked over to the man, who was the homeless man, and she gave it to him, and she touched his hand, and she said, "This is for you." Now, you know, in these situations, the whole cafe was watching to see what the woman would do. And the man said to her, "Thank you. God bless you." And she said, "I didn't do this for me or for you, but to participate in the love of God." Commitment story. Her commitment was to something higher, something bigger than either of those two people in that situation, to the promotion of love and care. The second story took place in my church as I was growing up. I grew up a Unitarian. And there was a man there who taught in the church school for 20 years. He was partnered to another man for 40 years, and they taught together. They were my teachers, and they were the teachers of many other children for all those years. And then one of the partners died, and the man, I believe his name was Thomas, he had to stop teaching because his partner was gone. So what he did was he came in and he sat in the back of the congregation for 3 or 4 years, humbly sitting and listening. And after those 3 years, he started to build up his courage and his feeling for the place, and he came up to the minister after one Sunday service. And he handed the minister an envelope. He said, "Thank you for all the church has done for me." The minister said, "We haven't done anything. You have done it all." He said, "No, you did everything. To put me in a place where I could know the minds of children, to be in a place to practice love, to practice mourning, a place to practice peace, a place to deepen the soul, a place to be without the guilt and compulsion of a God lording over me. You have done this." When the minister looked at the envelope later, there was a $100 bill for each Sunday the man had been in the church. For each Sunday he had been for 23 or 24 years. When he handed it to her, he said, "This isn't about me, it's about the church and all it stands for." You see, he had been generous all along, but he had been saving each time he came through the doors to make that gift at the right time to the church. And he went back to teaching after that Sunday, to know the minds of the children, to practice love and peace, to teach them about what it means to mourn and to open hearts, as he had done for 20 years. Commitment. People say commitment is under attack. Yet I see commitment every day. People tell me divorce rates are up each year, but I see love's victory every day. I see commitment to causes in pink sneakers and filibuster speakers. I see commitment in young girls like Malala, who, after being shot, stands up to the Taliban for the education of other girls. I see it in rabid sports fans staying up too late when they have to preach a sermon the next day. Commitment. And I see it in parental love and in love between people and in love of places like this. Yet I am occasionally shaken when I am challenged to see commitment in our society. I was at the State Fair of Texas a couple weeks ago. In fact, it was, I don't know how many weeks, it was the first day of the fair. And I was standing there with my family in the noisy midway, waiting for them to purchase their food or whatever it was. And a song came over the loudspeakers, a popular song, and along came a group of teenage girls chanting this song, walking down the midway. And the song went, "I don't care and I love it." It's a song by artist Iconopop. It says, "I pushed my car off the bridge, I put your stuff in a bag and threw it down the stairs. I don't care and I love it." Now, admittedly, if I was at a nightclub and this song came on, I would dance with abandon like a fool. But at the fair, listening to chanting teenage girls yelling, "I don't care and I love it," I was more than shaken. It made me a little uneasy that to be cool meant to not care. I'm guessing many parents of young people have had that same idea. But what does it mean that our children are learning to chant such things? What is next? For me, care is the seed of gratitude. So to care is to have gratitude for life. And to have gratitude is the seed of responsibility for each other. And to have responsibility is to have pride in oneself and one's community and one's communities, and thus to have commitment. Without these things, we as a society are sunk. And if we develop spiritualities that say we don't care, we are sunk. In a sense, a church like this stands over and against those movements of society where our greatest hope is that care and compassion and a sense of responsibility and pride and commitment can save us. And that is where commitment comes in. In our church, commitment is to preserve religious freedom and pass on values that we hope make lives more just and compassionate. We hope that what we do here lights a fire under those who hope to serve in the world and to be part of what it means to be human as compassionate people who care about each other. Here, God is purpose and mutuality, not something to be appeased, but something to participate in. So it matters that we care and that we understand how commitment goes beyond what we say to what we do. A commitment spirituality says we have something important to preserve, that our lives mean something, that we are part of something bigger than ourselves, and we can find the courage to act on those things. That the courage is available, is built into deepening and finding a place of joy in a community such as this, in moving out of our private lives to lives that are more communal and more known. So commitment, it's not about what we get, as the fundraising experts want to tell us. Just think about it. No one enters into a committed relationship saying, "What's in it for me?" The best comes from the thought that what we give to the relationship is important. What can we do to help it thrive? How can we put heart and soul into its presence in the world? In good times and bad, we say, in unions and weddings. And those relationships can be anything from friends to lovers to places where we spend time. So today we get to practice a kind of commitment. Today we get to practice care as the seed of gratitude and responsibility, pride and action. For those of you with pledge cards, you get to show how your commitment works in your life with regards to this place. For those of you who have just arrived, you can write on those pledge cards something about what brought you here. We give today because we are the only ones who can make this place thrive. We give because since 1899, people have been giving here to keep the dream of this place alive. The dream that we stand for progressive values, love and acceptance, justice and freedom, that it will thrive here in Dallas despite the iconic churches in our city preaching hate and division. We give here because children are taught to open their minds, not close them. Because together we advocate for the underserved and a sustainable world, because creativity can bloom and people can be loved and held in their hardest moments. We give to change the world, our communities, and ourselves. Every time someone walks through those doors, and comes into tears because they never knew a place like this existed, and they felt crazy because they sought it out but couldn't find it. The world has changed. Every time the church shows up to march for pride or speak out for love, our city is changed. Every time we pray for each other and celebrate the rational mind, or hear our children sing, or our choir bring the music of ages, we are changed. And none of this happens without commitment. And not only commitment in an intellectual way, but as a spiritual path. It means we ask ourselves what matters. How what matters can lead to gratitude and a sense of responsibility and pride in our lives and participation in ways that make a difference. That is the work of commitment. So what I'm asking you today is reflect on what matters to you. And in our ritual, give the pledge that expresses your commitment within your means to this place. We are strong because we pool our resources together. We work for something that is bigger than ourselves, not a product we can package and give you. So as you bring your cards forward to be entered into a lottery, just kidding, not really, I am asking that you be a partner in making a world that we seek to live in just a little better. As you come forward, I hope you feel the pride of being part of something important here, something for the God of your being and the hopes of so many who have come before you.